First up, now several anti-China protests have been taking place across the Sindh area in Pakistan against the human rights violation and the multi-billion-dollar China-Pakistan's economic corridor. Now, the protests saw some anti-CPEC, anti-extremist and religious terrorism banners and placards which demanded independence of Sindh from Pakistan. Now, this is yet another instance where the people within Pakistan, the Sindh area of Pakistan, have risen up against several aspects. One, against their own government, and secondly, against the CPEC corridor. And there are reactions which are coming in on this big protest that was witnessed inside Sindh. Let's listen into some of the reactions there.
As far as the Pakistan is concerned, it's not very clear whether it's going to help them. Well, there is a lot of investment in the country, but that's also a lot of debt that they will incur. Will they be able to repay that kind of a debt? And then there's this problem in Pakistan which has always been there between Punjabis, Sindhis, Baluchis. Balochistan is the largest province, it's the richest province in terms of natural resources. But Balochistan is also the poorest province, right? So they are not interested in this kind of thing, where they feel all the advantages will be garnered by the Punjabis and the Baluchis will be left high and dry.
So these are some of the reactions which are coming in on the protests that have taken place in the Sindh area. Now, clearly, the people there view that this multi-billion-dollar project, that is $54 billion, which comprises of several other smaller projects, is not something that is going to add anything to the people of Sindh. Now, India has also made its reservations about the CPEC, where it says that a portion of the CPEC is actually being constructed on a bit of territory which India considers as its own. Now, what we are now looking at is people within Pakistan, in the Sindh territory of Pakistan, rising against this particular CPEC, China-Pakistan economic corridor that is being constructed for a whopping $54 billion. There are more reactions which are coming in on this story. Let's listen in to some of them.
This will be a corridor of woe and destruction. It may be the all-time favorite of President Xi Jinping under the One Belt, One Road scheme, but it will be the biggest disaster, economic disaster for China as well as for Pakistan. And they must get the message loud and clear. Even China's own think tanks have been cautioning the government against proceeding with the CPC. As far as India is concerned, India is totally opposed to it because it impinges on our security.
ये जो रूट बनाया जा रहा है, इसमें सिंध और बलूचिस्तान के जो हमारे देश हैं, उनके ऊपर एक कब्जा है जो पंजाब चाइना को अपने साथ मिलाकर स्ट्रांग करना चाहता है. सो सीपेक बेसिकली एक ऐसा इशू है जो आने वाले फ्यूचर में इस पूरे खित्ते में और अरबिक समंदर आप कहें या जो इंडियन ओशन है, उसके अंदर चाइना अपनी नेवल फोर्सेस को और पाकिस्तान के अंदर अपनी आर्मी को स्ट्रांग करना चाहता है, और ये पूरे खित्ते के लिए और पूरे वर्ल्ड के लिए आने वाले वक्त में खतरा है.
देखिए, किसी भी देश के लोगों को अगर ये लगता है कि उनके आंतरिक मामले में कोई विदेशी ताकत हस्तक्षेप कर रही है और वहाँ की सरकार उसके सकम कर गई है उसके प्रेशर में, तो ये स्वाभाविक एक तरह से रिएक्शन है उनका. और किसी भी देश के अगर नागरिकों को ये लगता है कि कोई बाहरी देश हमारे आंतरिक मामलों में हस्तक्षेप कर रहा है, तो उसको अधिकार है विरोध करने का, उसको अधिकार है अपनी बात कहने का.
A lot of Chinese labor comes in and in fact assumes proprietorial rights over that area and rides roughshod over local feelings and sentiments. And China, of course, has only one aspect in mind, its strategic interests, to build the China-Pakistan belt, the road, the corridor. But local sentiments also matter. And therefore, they must be taken into account. We have to see how China and Pakistan resolve this matter.
Almost an unprecedented move. These are anti-China protests that are taking place within the territory of Pakistan in the area of Sindh, where the people, the localites within Sindh say that this is nothing but the occupation of their territory, which will not in any way benefit the local Sindhis there, but rather is aimed at benefiting China firstly and also the Pakistan Islamabad-centric administration of Pakistan. This is what the localites have been saying. They do not want the CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project, to proceed any further. They say this is not in any way going to add any benefits to the local population, but rather would strengthen the occupation of China of these particular provinces where this project is being built. Now, apart from this, India has also expressed some very strong reservations over the CPEC, condemning the fact that a portion of the CPEC also runs through what India says is its territory. And for more on this, we are joined in by my colleague Ashish Singh. Ashish, this is almost in many ways an unprecedented kind of a protest, where the protest is directed against China and it's taking place within Sindh in Pakistan. We seem to have lost my colleague Ashish there. We'll try to get him back. Meanwhile, we are joined in by General G.D. Bakshi. General, this is an interesting and an important development. How do you read this?
This is indeed interesting because you see the China-Pakistan economic corridor, the way it has been aligned, it seems to have bypassed whole sections of Sindh altogether. There is an ulterior strategic military purpose to this corridor rather than the trade that it talks about. Had it been trade, they would have kept it parallel to the Indus, the other side of the Indus, to be safe in the event of any India-Pakistan conflict. But if you see the alignment of the corridor, it takes two loops. One comes to, the India-Pakistan border ahead of Lahore, and the other comes to Rajasthan. These are the two areas of likely tank battle. What is China trying to do? It is more or less, it appears that there is a nefarious design to bring in Chinese mechanized forces to bear onto a battle between India and Pakistan. So economically, it has bypassed Sindh, it has marginalized Balochistan, and these people will gain nothing. They are always being treated like colonies, so quite obviously they are quite unhappy about the China-Pakistan economic corridor. And the Chinese bring their own workers, their own, labor, so they give no local employment. They just use their own. They even start selling boiled eggs and tea to these locals where they are, whether in Africa or other places. That is why they arouse a lot of resentment.
Absolutely, General. Do continue to stay on with us. There is a lot of resentment that we are seeing within the Pakistanis itself, and our colleague Ashish Singh joins us back. Ashish, this is an interesting development. The localites within Pakistan here do not seem to agree with their government. They don't want the CPEC to progress any further. Your reactions on this? Ashish, if you can hear me, this is a protest that has taken place in the Sindh territory of Pakistan, where the localites are opposing China and the CPEC project, the much famed CPEC project. So how is this going to impact the Pakistan-China dialogue, so to speak? Because the locals themselves are now raising some very, very strong reservations about this particular project there. We seem to have lost the line with Ashish Singh again. We'll try and get him back. But General, you were making an interesting and an important point. You said that, the way this entire corridor is being constructed, it does not merely appear to be an economic corridor as it is being claimed. You say that there are much more ulterior and nefarious moves which perhaps China is intending in the manner in which this particular corridor has been built.
Absolutely. The alignment of this corridor is cause for great disquiet on India's part. Why is the corridor aligned the way it is? That has clear military implications. Why is the corridor being brought to the India-Pakistan border when no trade was intended with India? So it's not trade. It is to facilitate the deployment of Chinese mechanized forces. And the Chinese have been building bunkers to so-called protect this corridor. this resolved militarily. This is a military project. This is not an economic thing. It is a military project, and which is, China will now soon call it a core interest. And in case of any conflict between India and Pakistan, they will try and jump into the fray.
Absolutely. That's an important point there, G.D. Bakshi. Do continue to stay on with us. We are also joined in by Brigadier Mahalingam. Brigadier G.D. Bakshi, they are making an important point that it is more a military thing. And in the case of a conflict between India and Pakistan, China then will reserve the right to interfere because it would say that this is a core economic region that they need to defend. Your reactions on this, sir?
So absolutely. The point that we must remember is, as far as CPEC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is concerned, it's a part of the larger issue, that is the OBOR, One Belt, One Road. Now, the Chinese have, by starting this, first not only is planning to economically upgrade itself and get the facilities out of this one rank OBOR, but also we must remember that because of the fact that they are involved in this, they have the right to supervise, they have the right to ensure that its security is protected. It is primarily for this reason, if you may recall, Chinese have provided a few ships to Pakistan at the Gwadar port, and they have also brought in some elements of their naval forces there, which can at any point in time be enhanced. Apart from that, they also have their own people who are there as advisors who will be carrying out complete reconnaissance of the entire area. Having said that, as far as the economy part of it, about which the Sindh people are probably agitating, we must remember that the so-called western route, which Pakistan was supposed to develop, has not taken off. Secondly, we must also understand that there is a big sort of a closing down, or in fact putting a cover over the expenditure, the interest rates.
Absolutely, Brigadier Mahalingam. These are exactly the reasons as to why we see resentment within the people of Pakistan in the Sindh region. We've got my colleague Ashish Singh who is joining us. Ashish, this is a very interesting development where people in Sindh are opposing the CPEC.
Well, that's right. This is one project which has been highlighted a lot at the international level by Pakistan and China. Both the entire world basically is not to boost the economy. At least that's not the primary reason why China has invested, not to boost the economy of Pakistan and China, but to corner India. But there have been a lot of protests. This particular protest, what we are talking about, and the visuals we see are of the Sindh area in Pakistan, where the locals are protesting against the China-Pakistan corridor. Their primary demand is that there have been a lot of human rights violations. For example, Chinese forces, once the Pakistani army and the Pakistani government gives them certain area, then they start operating in Chinese fashion. We all know what kind of democracy has been exercised in China. The human rights violations there are almost negligible, and that's the reason why the locals are protesting, because once the Chinese are given control over this particular area where the CPEC, the economic corridor between China and Pakistan is being built, the Chinese start operating in their manner, which completely goes against the human rights violations and the basic rights of the locals there. And this particular protest, as I mentioned, is of the Sindh region. Apart from that, what we have also learned is that Pakistan has not been giving any support to their local population when they are protesting against the Chinese projects there. This certainly helps us understand that Pakistan is boosting China's efforts just to corner India at the cost of suffering of their own people. This certainly is something that needs.
Absolutely, Ashish. So this is, of course, the resentment that is growing within China. Thank you very much indeed for joining us